The Caribbean has never truly been quiet. From the outside, it appears as blue waters, long coastlines, and calm shipping routes. But on the map of global strategy, this region is a pressure zone that never stops pulsing. Venezuela stands right at the center of that crossroads, a nation with a coastline facing directly toward the strategic maritime route to the Atlantic. A geographic position that cannot be ignored by anyone who understands the meaning of spatial control. And in the past few weeks, something has begun to shift. Not a declared change, not a broadcasted announcement, but a slow movement, visible only to those who study the patterns carefully. Russian strategic cargo aircraft, repeated landings, flight paths that do not follow commercial traffic, segments flown in transponder silence. No official explanation, yet the silence that appears is not empty. This silence carries weight. Within circles of analysts and defense observers, one name has begun to surface repeatedly: the Iskander ballistic missile system. And thus, the question shifts. It is no longer, was it brought into Venezuela? But rather, what does its presence here signify? The Il-76 and the N-124 are not aircraft that operate without high-level authorization. Every flight carries intent. Every route implies a decision. When their paths break away from commercial corridors, when portions of the journey are not recorded by civilian systems, when refueling stops occur in places rarely mentioned publicly, we are facing something that does not seek to explain itself in words. This pattern has appeared before. In Syria, before strategic air defense systems were positioned. In other regions, before balance was quietly altered. And now, that pattern appears in Venezuela. There is no announcement, there is no statement, but patterns rarely emerge without purpose. In geopolitics, what is left unsaid is often more important than what is declared. The Iskander is not a weapon designed to make noise on the battlefield. It is not a system built for display or spectacle. It is a tool that operates in the decision-making space. If the Iskander is in Venezuela, then every plan for external military pressure is no longer straightforward. A step that once seemed plausible now carries consequences that cannot be ignored. An intervention scenario is no longer simply about speed and tactics. Now the scenario becomes a question of, if pressure is applied, what is the response? And if a response is delivered, how fast does it arrive? The strength of the Iskander does not lie in its explosive power. Its strength lies in its ability to make another party stop and say, silently, wait. A decision delayed by a fraction of a second can alter the entire direction of history. There is a tendency to assume Venezuela simply receives whatever comes from Russia. But the reality is deeper. Venezuela has built its defense infrastructure for years. Its skies are guarded by the S-300VM air defense system. Its airspace is flown by trained Su-30 Mk2 pilots. Its radar network forms a unified national picture, not isolated dots. Its airbases have reinforced hangars. Its rocket forces have trained under Russian doctrine long before this recent movement. In other words, Venezuela is not merely a recipient. It is a prepared foundation. If the Iskander arrives, it does not come as something foreign. It would take its place where space has long been prepared for it. If the Iskander ballistic missile system is indeed in Venezuela, you will not see warships lining the coast. You will not see jets flying low over cities. There will be no display of force. What changes is what cannot be seen. Diplomatic tone becomes more cautious. Strategic planning maps in closed rooms are redrawn. Risk projections are elevated. The word soon becomes reassess. The deepest form of power is the power that changes intent, not the power that changes territory. And intent often shifts in silent rooms. Russia does not speak. Venezuela does not clarify. The United States does not question openly. But this silence is not calm. It is not agreement. It is not hidden consent. It is tension being held in place. All sides are waiting. All sides are watching one another. All sides know that one move too early could shift the entire balance of the region. The silence is not cold. It is tight, dense, pressurized, a silence that feels like a room whose doors have been shut with no air moving. And silence like that always means one thing. No one is willing to move first. So, has the Iskander ballistic missile system truly been placed in Venezuela? That question remains suspended. And, perhaps, it is meant to remain suspended, because its strategic value lies in uncertainty itself. As long as the answer is not declared, every actor must calculate, must slow their steps, must ensure that decisions rest on more than political boldness alone. At this point, the audience is no longer just observing. We are witnessing a shift in the world's balance. Before we draw conclusions, we should remember that on the geopolitical stage, what appears obvious is rarely the real core. What matters is what operates behind the curtain. Perhaps the Iskander in Venezuela is only a shadow. Perhaps it is already there. Perhaps it is being tested. Perhaps it waits quietly for instruction, and perhaps it is precisely this uncertainty that prevents reckless action. This video does not encourage conflict or escalation. It presents how states defend sovereignty, how global powers measure one another, and how balance is something to be preserved, not broken. In the end, we do not need to decide who is right or who is wrong. What matters is reading the signs carefully. This story is not finished, and the next chapter has yet to be written.